Hello and welcome back for part 6 of my Atari cartridge collections. If you've been following this channel, you'll remember that I left off on the most common ones. I missed a few here because I'd set them aside because the labels on the ends were falling off. So I'll show you the end labels here on these, and then we'll go ahead and let's put them up on the box and give you a close-up shot of the covers. But these got missed simply because of the fact that the labels are coming off of the ends of them. Whoop! Banging the camera there. Don't want to be doing that. These were all really good games. Really common ones. You see them often. Not unusual at all to run across these. But they got some really neat art, and I definitely wanted to share those with you. And so now, moving on, getting back to what we were looking at when we left off, I've got 3 Star Wars titles here, all from Milton Bradley. And we've got Jedi Arena, The Empire Strikes Back, and I know there was an Star Wars The Arcade game in this series as well that I have not ran across, do not own, but there was at least a 4th title in this series that I'm aware of. So now we're getting back to just the common stuff. We got Pong Sports. Now, there's another one where the title just fell off on me as I'm bringing it up to look at it. That's Atari Games, and to be quite honest with you, originally I bought my Atari system at Sears, and it was not an Atari system, it was an IntelliSystems. And I've got a stack of cartridges here that are specifically labeled for the IntelliSystems system. And we'll look at that in a bit. But for now, I want to try and finish going through what I consider to be fairly common titles that you find pretty much every time you find a system for sale. They'll have a lot of these that you're going to see here. Nothing unusual, nothing odd. Probably high production runs of all these. Not that they're not good games, quite the opposite. Like I said in the last video, they're outstanding games, and that's why there's so many of them out there. That's why you'll run across so many of them if you're looking for Atari games. Video pinball. I loved pinball. There was 2. I had that Midnight Magic one as well. But, and then, as we previously discussed in an earlier video as well, the numbered ones were the first generation. Those were the original ones that they put out. Pretty plain, pretty generic. You can see this is actually for the Atari system. It's not for the Sears version, the Telegames. But this one was. No, it wasn't. Excuse me. Looking at one thing and showing you another and getting myself confused at the same time. And then I've got some more end labels that are falling off and flying around that I certainly don't want to lose. So I'm trying to do the video here and not mess up or lose anything while I'm at it. Video chess reminds me of the old battle chess. If any of you ever played battle chess, that was lots of fun. But I don't think that was ever on the Atari. It was on a lot of other systems. I played it on my Tandy 1000. And if you're going to play chess, well, you got to follow it up with some checkers. Well, you don't have to, but they do kind of go hand in hand as common, very common board games. I definitely like the third generation cartridges when they started doing the bold font and the artwork on them. At least interesting to see. Basketball, baseball, football. They covered the sports pretty well, I believe. And this is the only one of the sword quests I have. I saw this morning while doing some research to talk about these games that the Waterworld sword quest is actually quite valuable and goes for a good chunk. I guess there were 4 in this series. I actually have 2 copies of this one, but that's it. I don't have any of the other 3. So, I don't know if there are any uncommon. Well, see, there's another one that just fell off on me. Some of these I haven't touched in years. They've been out in the shed, and I do temperature control the shed because the shed is actually got a lot of collectible things in it that I don't want to be destroyed. But some of these haven't been touched in years, and clearly they're getting old. Not a lot to see there. They've even faded where it does say 9 holes. But that was first gen cart. No, it's not. It's not a number on it. I'm sorry. I take that back. That's a second gen cart. If they have the small font and no number, they're a second gen cart. But they still had the plain Jane lack of artwork. Switching to another box here. That's why you got the hesitation. But these are third gen carts when they look like this, when they've got the artwork on them. That was the third time out, or so I have recently read. Like I said, I was no expert on Ataris. I don't even really know what I've got here that's valuable and what isn't. But I did, like I said, spend a couple hours looking at some YouTube videos by people who may or may not be experts that shared a lot of valuable information with me so that I could share with you. And so that's why I like this one, 3D tic-tac-toe. It was mentioned in one of the videos I watched this morning that the Telegame system version was just called tic-tac-toe. It wasn't called 3D tic-tac-toe. So there you go. Variances. And some of these actually, now we're getting into this pile, some of these might not be as common, but they're not rare. You'll notice these use the paddle controllers. That also seems to be, for some reason, a little more difficult to find someone selling a system with the paddle controllers rather than just the joysticks. I've got tons of joysticks because I think I've got still 5 Atari systems. Because sometimes you'll see a game that you just really, really want, and they're not willing to sell it separate from the system. And back at the time when I first started buying these, it wasn't uncommon at all for someone to be more than happy to get $20-25 for a system and all the games. So I'd go ahead and shell out the $20 to get the cartridge or 2 that I really wanted when they absolutely refused to sell without it. Now, Adventure, this one definitely was a very common one. This is one that got a lot of my time. Me and my friends played this one a lot, being fans of Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy in general. This one was one that we had to run down to the mall and buy as soon as we heard it was out. No regrets there, neither. It was a good game. It was fun for the times. Warlords here. This one was an interesting game too that was more geared towards multiplayer as opposed to a single player game. And then here's a Telegames version. You can tell right off because it says it's a Telegames version. So now we've reached our limit. I thought we were going to wrap it up on this one, but we're going to have another short episode to wrap it up. So we'll be back with the number 7.